Hey guys, just wanted to share with you a little bit about my process in the studio. I've been asked a lot of questions about how I do it. Since 2014, my first album came out. That's how I did it. I sat here on this computer. I used a couple of these things and other things I had to buy, but pretty much it was fairly cheap compared to going into a studio and spending tons of money on recording your stuff. But in my second album, I'm working on demos of my work, and it's been a lot of fun. It seems to be getting a lot heavier, which is where I used to be with guitars and things, and I'm absolutely loving the writing process and recording process. Since 2006, I've used Audacity, which is free software you can download, and you just do your rough tracks on that, and then I send those rough tracks to FL Studio, which has a lot better equalizers, limiters, compressors, and things like that, and you could tell there's a better board that you can just visualize and see some of the work that's being done. So with this album, I just want to break it down and show you how I did it. So through Audacity, I started with a click track when I had an idea of a song. A really simple guitar part, I just liked it and it stuck with me, and then I had this lyrics going over it in my head, and I decided to write the song called I'm the Machine. So this would be the rough guitar track that I started out with, which is doubled, and I split them at 70% on each side and got a pretty nice tone. And all the guitar tracks are direct in. They go directly in. I didn't use amps for this, but you can if you want to. I experiment. I sometimes use a mic, sometimes I don't. And I thought I needed a little bit more, an extra tone with that, so I decided to use my tube screamer and to get a little bit better sound. It's a little bit fuller. So I did that, and then of course I did the bass line. The bass line is what really drives this song. I started out, I wrote it on the keyboard, and I really liked the way it sounded, and I tried to change it over to the bass, and it was pretty difficult. But this is what I come up with for the bass line. So that's pretty much what I did there. I had to do the bass line plenty of times. It was pretty hard to do, but I got it down. And then I had to add drums. So here's what I come up with for the drums. This is a really simple rocked out. And that is not an actual drummer. What I did was I used my keyboard here, and it's kind of interesting because when I did the open hi-hat, whenever I was just pressing down on it, it sounded terrible. So what I had to do was split up the hi-hat so the ride would ride into the next track. So if that makes any sense. So on one track I go psh, and I'd hit that, and the next track psh, psh, and then continuing in that way, just so I could make it sound more real. I didn't want it to sound kind of clunky, but it turned out okay. So then what you get with that, and then of course I always have the click track on there too, but and then pretty much that's it. Then you start adding your solos, and you start adding little bits and pieces of guitar to make it seem fuller. The way I see it, the more tracks you build and layer, it just sounds amazing. And then you just equalize all the stuff, like with the guitars. I used the EQ there and I used a little bit of the overdrive that they have, and just added a couple of extra layers to it and everything, and it's starting to sound pretty good. And next thing I have to do is I have to put down the lyrics, and I might make another video to show how I do that. But that's pretty much it for the day. I just wanted to show you some of the processes I do. It's tedious, it's difficult. You want to pull your hair out sometimes when it doesn't sound right, but in the end, it is so fulfilling. It's so much fun to do this kind of thing. So thank you all, and have a good day.